1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is Dr. Beth Ann. For the college.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to be here. I really, really appreciate that. I know you all have busy lives. I am very grateful for you to be here. I'm also grateful for the opportunity to interview for this position at this college because what I saw on your website and what I've read about the college is all very positive. I was asked to give a presentation, bless you, I was asked to give a presentation on the future of higher education, in particular Kansas City, Kansas Community College. But I'll give you a little bit of background on me. Sorry you can't see these real well. I enjoy hiking and I enjoy being outdoors, and that was one thing that attracted me to Kansas City. Also, I photograph trains and railroads, and this place has been on my bucket list for a long time to be here. So I'm really, really excited about that. So a little bit more about me. I have a PhD in Education Administration from the University of Austin at Texas. John Rush was my dissertation advisor, and I studied a partnership between BNSF Railroad and Tarrant County College. There's a program to train railroad dispatch. As was mentioned, I've been a director of distance learning. I've been in distance learning since the early 1990s. I've been a faculty member for over 12 years, teaching biology, anatomy and physiology, nutrition, natural history, and a little bit of chemistry. I've also taught in K-12. I was the junior high and high school science teacher at a tiny little school in Westby, Montana. We had 49 students K through 12. We had 90 students in the town. So I've also taught in China. That was a different experience. I was in a city, I think, of over 7 million people teaching at a university and living there for 6 months. So there's a little bit about me, and I'd be happy to answer other questions later if you wish. Okay, when I was asked to give this presentation about the future of higher ed, in particular for this school, I got right on the Kansas Board of Regents site, and I saw two of their strategic goals are really focused on community colleges. And these goals are also really important nationwide as well. There's a lot of talk about increasing the percentage of the population that has college credentials. And there's also a lot of talk about new jobs and new skills and jobs that won't even be around or that aren't around today and which will be around in the future. These two strategic goals also align well with the HLC's guiding principles, in particular number 1, which is focusing on student learning, and number 2, which is learning in a technological and globally diverse world. So I'm going to focus on this one first, and I feel that Kansas City, Kansas Community College is already doing a lot to meet these goals. I think you guys are doing an excellent job. And in fact, that's one reason that I applied for this particular job, was because I was impressed with what I was reading about your college. One thing that is in the national news right now and is really important is addressing returning adults, having adults come back to school to complete a degree or credential or to get a degree or credential. And how do we help those students? Those students have life going on. They have children, they have elder care issues, they have perhaps transportation issues, they have jobs. It's hard for them many times to navigate the college system. So I was very excited to see that you were in particular targeting one population of returning adults that we currently serve at the college I'm at, and that's veterans. And I'm sorry, this is a little small, but these are all the fantastic things that I found that you're doing at your new Veteran Center. And all of these are the types of things that returning adults need to have to succeed and complete a degree or credential. Tutoring services, mentoring programs, academic counseling, financial aid forms, all of these types of things are very important, as well as making social connections, because many returning adult students, as I mentioned, they have lives outside, and it's good for them to be able to connect with others who have similar challenges. So I was really excited to see that you're already doing a lot of this. Where I currently work, we are right next to Fort Huachuca, which is an Army base, a military intelligence base, and the college that I work at serves the soldiers and the veterans that are associated with that particular military base, and we have a center out there. So this is important. So when I saw this, I got curious about the number of veterans that are in, I saw that you have a presence in Wyandotte County and Leavenworth County. And so I'm like, how many veterans are in there? And so I looked up some data. This is from 2016, and at this time you had over 17,000 veterans in the area. Wow, what a great way to reach out to this population of returning adults. Another way to meet that goal, to have more people attain college credentials, is to be unselfish. And when I found this quote from your Veterans Center director, I'll read it because I see some of you might not be able to see it. My goal for the Veterans Center is for it to become a single service location for all military and veteran students, whether they currently attend KCKCC or not. That is so important if colleges and universities can help students get to the right school and the right place if we're going to meet this goal of increasing the percentage of people that have a degree or credential. Okay, another program that has been shown to help people attain degrees and credentials is dual enrollment. And I do realize there are some issues around dual enrollment as well, but I went to the Community College Research Center, which is out of Columbia University, and there was a study that was just done last year, and it found that students who take dual enrollment courses complete college certificate or degree at a higher percentage and in a shorter amount of time than the students who are not involved in dual enrollment. Interestingly, over half of the students that do dual enrollment actually end up attending a community college. So I was like, well, how is Kansas doing? And I found this data, and Kansas is actually outperforming the United States in terms of its dual enrollment students, the students who take dual enrollment courses, attaining a degree or a credential. And this college is part of that. Now, I do want to point out here the inequity gap between lower and higher income. And I am really involved currently in something called, at my current school, called Complete College America. This is a national initiative that involves over 40 different states, and it has 6 different strategies to help address these inequity gaps. And I'd be happy to talk about them later if you wish, but I know I'm on a time limit for this presentation. So, but that's important. But still, Kansas is doing better, and you all are part of that. And I think that's fantastic. Another national initiative or something that's in the news for higher education is getting students on the right path once they get to college and making sure that they're on the right career path. Look at these statistics. More than 31 million students have enrolled at college and left without receiving a degree or credential over the last 20 years. 51% of adults would change one of their educational decisions, and 30% would choose a different major. I was one of those students. This I didn't do, thankfully, but I spent the first 2 years of college wandering around. I love writing and photography. I'm a published writer. I'm a published photographer. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying somebody thought it was. I also love science, and I couldn't decide. And I spent 2 years floundering around. What am I going to do? And then I was like, gosh, I have 2 more years of my scholarship, I better pick. And I decided I'd go into science. I had to finish my entire science degree in 2 years. I was very motivated because I had a scholarship that paid for my tuition or helped pay for my tuition. So wouldn't it be great if students could find a way to match up their skills, their interests, and their talents with a career path, or if you're a returning adult, some of the knowledge that you already have. So I was at the Complete College America conference a couple weeks ago, and I saw this gentleman speak, Dr. Elston. He was so inspiring. He is part of this movement called Purpose First, and he's part of Complete College, the whole Complete College America. Purpose First, what it does is its goal is to use software or some kind of a program to help students match up their skills, interests, and abilities with various meta majors or career pathways. That's something that I could have really benefited from. He quoted or he gave some statistics that are here that program changes by enrollment dropped from 26.1% to 13.9% at a college when they used a software program to help students figure out where they're going to be best placed or what's going to what career they want to go into and what pathway. Houston Community College implemented these strategies and found an 82.8% decrease in undeclared majors. And there's data out there that shows that if the students have a declared major and they have a purpose, they're more likely to finish. So I was extremely excited to see when I was reading your board minutes that you guys are already doing this, that you have a pilot project for this software called My Majors to help students do this. Students that have a purpose and they feel like, gosh, I'm attending this English class. What on earth does it have to do with my math degree? Well, you have to communicate and you need to understand how to put your ideas forward in writing, and they really feel like they have a purpose. So you're ahead of the game with this as well. So again, for that first goal to help all the population get more degrees or the percentage more degrees and credential, you're already doing some really, really good things here. And things that match national initiatives. So I was very excited to see that. The second goal was improving alignment of the state's higher education system with the needs of the economy. It's great if you have an education, but if you can't get a job, that's a problem, particularly nowadays. And a lot of students, when they come to college, they might want to just get a job right away, or perhaps they want to transfer to a university and get a bachelor's degree, or even go on to professional school. So what I did next was I did a research of high demand. I did some research on high demand occupations in Kansas. I went to the Kansas Department of Labor website. There was a long list, but I've listed a few of them up here, like nursing, engineering, computer system analysts, accountants, heating, air conditioning, refrigeration, physicians, and so forth. And what's cool is you already award credentials that lead to many of these careers. So again, you're on the cutting edge with this. In fact, web developers and computer system analysts on this report that I pulled up, the number of degrees awarded that could prepare someone for these two careers versus the number of jobs is quite different. There's way more jobs than there are degrees and awards for them. So that's a real good opportunity for students that have an interest, for example, in that field. And then here, the Kansas Occupational Outlook projects the state of Kansas employment to grow by over 60,000 by 2026. Something else that's really important to make sure that a college stays up with what business industry, nonprofits, what employers need and want are connections into the community. And again, when I got out and did some research, I saw some brilliant things that you were doing. And again, this is nationally known. This is a national push in the higher education news and literature to connect with the community. And that's something I see that you have as a strong point. I saw that you hosted a regional American Technical Education Association conference here. and that you have an employee here who's a board member. What a great way to stay in touch with the tech world and how fast it's changing so fast, I can't keep up with it. So this is amazing. Working with community partners. I mentioned that I was very impressed. You had community partners on the search committee for this position. This is one of the few places where I've interviewed where you actually have community partners. One of those community partners was El Centro, and I saw that you partner with them to offer Spanish GED classes. I've worked at Hispanic serving institutions, and I'm very interested in the Hispanic population and seeing that they have the same education and opportunities as more, let's say, privileged groups do. And the one reason I'm in community colleges, to be honest, is because I want to make sure that we can close that inequity gap. I grew up in an area that was very socioeconomically depressed. I was fortunate. I had parents that went to college. Not everybody is that fortunate. And so I feel that it's important for me to be able to give back and see how I can be of service to folks that might not have those opportunities. And because everybody can learn, everybody can get an education, and I think anyone who wants an education should have that opportunity. So by working with community partners, that's a good thing. I also saw you're starting a child care center, or may start a child care center too, and that can be very helpful to students because, as well as the businesses, because it's very difficult for people to go to school if they can't find somebody to watch their children. Your marketing campaign that I read about is brilliant. Going out into the community and asking business people and nonprofits and whatnot, why did you hire a graduate from KCKCC? And not only is that brilliant because it showcases your college and it gets your name out there, but you're making connections with alumni. Alumni can come back and be part of the foundation. Alumni can come back and be an adjunct faculty member. Alumni can come back and be mentors. They can participate in the college, and they are often the college's best form of advertisement. Plus, you're getting out in the businesses. These alumni are with the businesses, and they can tell you about, hey, there's some new business trends going on. We need this, we need that. So I was very impressed with that. And again, you have a lot of community engagement. I saw you had a back-to-school fair going on here, as well as several other, your arts and culture. I was absolutely blown away. I was listening to the jazz video that you have and soundtrack that you have on your website, and my significant other said to me, wow, what are you listening to? I said, that's KCKCC's jazz. Like, no way. So having those kind of services and programs available to students and then giving back to the community is amazing. I want to end on the importance of liberal arts, because in this day and age, particularly if you're in liberal arts, you're thinking, oh, it's STEM all the time, or oh, it's tech career all the time. Well, the value of a liberal arts education can be seen right here in this quote. When students know how to communicate and people know how to communicate, they're going to be a better employee and they're going to be a better citizen. This is verbal communication, written communication, and in this day and age, even email and texting communication. How many times have you misinterpreted a text that somebody sent? Creativity. Creativity. If you're people that are involved in creative things, writing, music, art, I enjoy all of those types of things. That stimulates creativity, and that's going to help with problem solving and being analytical. And all of that can all work together to make someone a more well-rounded employee with a lot of what they call soft skills. I haven't really decided if I like that term or not. As well as the technical or other knowledge that they're going to need. So I want to make sure that I stress the importance of liberal arts. And these musicians, artists, English teachers, all of you, all of that is needed in order to create a good, well-rounded society. I mean, where would we be if we didn't recognize, for example, our culture or our history or our writing or our arts? I know my life would not be complete if I didn't have that. I do attempt to play a musical instrument, but I won't do that here because I want you to keep hearing. I say that's why my dog went deaf. I'd only sing when she was around. So in summary, major initiatives in higher education right now to move us forward for the future. The Kansas Board of Regents says them well in their 2 strategic goals: increasing the number or percentage in the population that has a degree or credential, and making sure that higher education system aligns with the needs of the economy, businesses, and employers. And I feel one reason, again, that I applied here is that you all are already doing a great job with this, and I would be honored to be able to work here and work with each of you to find out how we can find even more ways and strategies to meet these together so that we can best serve our students. Because that's what we're here for, is our students. I'm a photographer. I like railroads and grain elevators. And thank you. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And I'm very happy to take any questions you might have about this, about me, anything. Again, thank you for your attention. Or if you're bashful, shout it out and I'll try to rephrase it. I guess we should follow directions.
Hi, I'm Barbara Clark Evans. I'm with the Intercultural Center. So could you tell us about your leadership style?
Yes, I would be happy to. If I was to pick a phrase that said, what's your leadership style, I'd probably pick adaptive leadership, because every person needs something a little bit different. And I like to be adaptive to that. I also like to get to know people. I like to listen to people and find out what they're thinking. If they choose to share it with me, I'm not going to be nosy and I'm not going to gossip. I have enough of my own stuff. I don't need to hear gossip. But seriously, I like to listen. I like to see what people have to say. I like to hear different perspectives. If you were to talk to my employees, because I asked them, what do you think is my leadership style and what do I bring to you? Because they're a better judge of that than I am. And they said, you create a positive environment for us to succeed. I got that from several of my employees. They said, you allow us to make mistakes and let us fall down, and then you help us up. You don't kick us to the curb. That's how we learn. You're there to support us when we have a new idea, and you listen to us. My department chair in math, for example, she completely does all the scheduling for math. If we have issues of a class not filling or we need to reschedule a class, she comes up with all these great ideas. She'll say, hey, can I do this, that? She comes up with much better ideas than me. Sure, go ahead, think about it, see what you can come up with. I also like to look at many facets of an issue. So I guess my leadership style would be everybody's important, everybody counts. Let's make a positive contribution to the college and the community, and how can I help, or what can I do to be of better service so that you can better do your job. And some of the most important employees at the college, everybody is important, but ones that I think often get overlooked, and for whom I'm very grateful, are the classified employees and the maintenance staff. Because I tell people, I said, I'm a dean, I can be gone for a month. I don't think anybody would care. Well, my faculty might, but if you're a faculty member, you miss a class or two, that's okay. But if the building shuts down or the bathrooms aren't working, the place closes down. So, and the admin assistants are just, I couldn't do my job without my admin assistant or my lab managers. They're just amazing people. And what do we need here most of all? Students. So that's, I guess that, I hope I've answered your question. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Andrika Wilcoxon, and I'm the director. I'm right over here.
There we go.
I'm the director of student activities. And so kind of piggybacking off of Barb's question is, what is your personal mission?
My personal mission is to be of service as much as I can to help people attain their goals, or whatever way I can do to leave this world a better place. So when I exit and I'm out of here, I want to be able to know right before I go that I've really made a difference in people's lives, and that I've really been able to change things for the positive and for the better. That's my personal mission. And I'm always open to suggestion of how I can do that better, because I certainly don't have all the answers.
Question right over here.
Yes, thank you.
Hi. What are your thoughts about non-credit programs, one, and about adult ed, ESL programs, and community development programs?
I think they're absolutely essential. One of my best students was an adult ed student and got a GED. And in fact, I was just telling the group that I just met with that he graduated from school, from university this weekend. And it was hard to miss his graduation. But as I told what he said to me, no, it's your career. The same advice I gave him when he was a student in my class. I teach non-credit continuing lifelong learning classes. I love to take them. I've taught beginning hiking ones. I've done nature journaling. That kind of, I'm not saying I did a good job, but I do it. And I think they're absolutely essential. And then where I live very close to the Mexican border, and we have a lot of students from Mexico. And those ESL classes are essential so that they can learn English and then enter our classes. In fact, I think they have it over me because I'm only fluent in one language, and they end up being fluent in two. And in fact, when I taught in China, I was embarrassed to say that I just know one language. I'm really sorry. I did study Chinese for a year. I can't speak it. And I've studied French and Spanish, and one of my goals is to at least be proficient in Spanish. My significant other is proficient in Spanish. So these are absolutely critical. And one of the most heartwarming things that I've done is attend the adult ed graduations. And so yes, absolutely critical, particularly if we're going to meet the goals of having more people have a college degree and a better life for them and their families. So yeah, absolutely. Other questions? If I had to do it over, would yes. Do you mean personally or professionally or both? Either one. Professionally. Yes. I had a situation, this was a while ago, where I was involved with a student club because I was supervising the faculty member who was the advisor. And they had some challenges in the club. And I felt wrongly that the faculty member was probably okay with solving that issue. And so I said, please go ahead and solve the issue. I'll support you in it. It turned out that they didn't have as much experience as I thought. That's not their fault. It's more my fault than theirs. They can't help it. They don't have that much experience. I thought they had more. And so I had to backtrack and go in and help them out. And I think what I would do in that situation, because it was starting to escalate and get worse, and it wasn't being a good experience for the students, and I'm being vague on purpose, what I would do is the mistake I made there is find out a little bit more in detail about what this person's experience was with handling this particular type of a conflict. And so this is a good lesson, I think, overall that we should always keep in mind, and which I always have to remind myself, is that make sure you have enough information to make a good decision. And this was one where I could have taken a little bit more time to make a better decision. It wasn't a bad one, but it could have been if I wasn't keeping just tabs on it and without being a micro. So I think being aware that you can always get more information, but also knowing when you need to make that particular decision. And this one, again, I'm leaving out details for obvious reasons, to protect the innocent or not so innocent. But this one really could have escalated, and thankfully it didn't. You're welcome.
Hi, right here in the middle.
And there and then there. Yes, hi.
Can you talk a little bit about your philosophy of shared governance?
Yes, I think it's important to bring as many people to the table, not necessarily numbers, but as many groups to the table as possible. in shared governance. For example, where I am now, I am chair of the Academic Standards Committee, but I have a co-chair who is a faculty member, and a lot of our committees are run that way. And I think that's important because if you've been just a faculty member or just a classified staff or just an administrator, you only have that perspective. And it's important to bring various perspectives to the table in order to solve a problem. Having said that, another philosophy I have with shared governance is it's always important to make sure that one stays focused on the student. And that is your ultimate goal, is how do we best help the student and how do we serve the student? So shared governance is very important. You don't want to have one group that is totally making all the decisions without listening to input from the others, or one group that is running rampant over the other groups. And a true shared governance really does allow all groups to have a voice and all groups to be heard, so that, again, like the lesson I said, gathering enough information so that you can make a good decision. I'm fine with shared governance, and in fact, it benefited me when I was a faculty member, and we didn't have a lot of money in our school, and I think I told you that story at the last one. The faculty union and the administration basically worked together, and what happened was they said, we can either give you a raise or we can let go 40 untenured faculty members. I was one of those 40. They voted, it was almost unanimous, and they kept us. And a few years later, when we had more money coming into the school, the administration, again, I think this is a real good example of good shared governance, gave a raise that year, as well as the raise that they weren't able to give a few years previous. So I think shared governance can work together if people come to the table with students in mind and that they're willing to listen to all sides and listen to what everybody has to say and what everybody has to bring to the table. Also, you need to realize there are some very hard decisions that need to be made. As I mentioned, in Arizona, 2 of our community colleges no longer even receive state funding. That's a tough reality there.
Hello, my name is Aaliyah Shaw. I'm the student senate president here on campus.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And my question to you, you talked about during your presentation, you spoke about how a scholarship helped you like aid with your degree.
Yes.
And so here on our campus, a lot of students have scholarships, but also a lot of students do not or struggle with navigating scholarships here.
Mm-hmm.
And so what would be your words of encouragement or some tips on students that struggle with getting scholarships or knowing how to access them, or even those that don't go for them because they don't think they'll be awarded?
Okay, that's a good question. First of all, those students, I'll do the last one first, that, oh, I could never get a scholarship. No, that's not true. There are many, many types of scholarships out there. And a student who puts in a little bit of time to try to get a scholarship, I would say their chances are pretty good. So I would say go for it, no matter what. I would also say it's really important to work with, I'm not sure what the entity is here, but at the college I'm at, we just hired someone who is, or people that are called navigators that help students navigate the college process. They'll help them find scholarships. And our financial aid department also does that too. Helps them find scholarships, shows them where to find scholarships, and even helps them with the application process. Because when you look at that FAFSA, yeah, it's a stinking nightmare, isn't it? So I would say anything that we can do to help students with that, and like we have get a system in place and then get the word out to students, and through student government would certainly be an excellent way to do that. I hope I've answered your question. Thank you.
Oh, my name is Raymond. Yeah, I was asking the place that you were talking about that helps people, like the students, find scholarships and stuff, and the platform, is that like only your location or?
Where I am I'm at Cochise College, we have just hired some people into job positions that are called navigators, and one of their jobs is to help students find that. So yes, what I was referring to was what's happening at my particular college. Also at the particular college I've been at and other colleges I've been at, the financial aid office and advisors and student affairs has done a really good job showing students where they can apply for scholarships and how to. And sometimes faculty members. As a faculty member, I was able to get some people started on the right path, but then I directed them to people who know a lot more. So I'd say if a student can ask, hey, how can I find a scholarship? There will be ways. And another good place to look is a college foundation. In fact, the foundation where at the college that I go to, I am currently working at, I take classes too, but we have a celebration dinner once a year for all the students and their families who have been awarded a scholarship from the foundation. And just this year, we have what's called a guaranteed scholarship. So if you have a 2.5 or above, you get a certain amount of money if you've graduated from a region. They have a guaranteed certain amount of money, varies depending on certain, then at least guaranteed. Other ways to help students save money are things like open education resources, textbooks online that are free. There's a lot of ways to save money. So hopefully I've answered. Great, thank you. It's great that you have students in the audience too. This is wonderful. Yes, yes, thank you.
If you could choose one song to describe you as a person.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Where's the shoe question?
One song to describe me as a person. I guess it would be Tracy Lawrence's Find Out Who Your Friends Are, Know Who Your Friends Are, because I've had so many people in my life who have supported me, helped me, and encouraged me when I was down and out and I absolutely thought, you know, everything was just out the window. And I'm very, very grateful and appreciative to those folks, and I like to pay it forward. So, and that song reminds me that I need to be grateful and appreciative to the people who have helped me and assisted me along my journey in life. So I would say that that's probably the one I can come up with at the moment. One fit pretty well. I want to make sure that people know that I am very grateful and appreciative for everything.
Hi, I'm Bob, and
Oh,
my question.
And then there's another one here. Yes, yes.
My question is this:
I'm driving that guy crazy. I'm sorry.
There are several community colleges in the area.
Yes.
What are you going to bring to the table that makes somebody either that has had this as their alma mater or a new student want to come to your college rather than Johnson County or UMKC or one of the other community colleges in the area?
So I want to make sure I understand the question. If I were to have this position, how would I go about convincing somebody that this is the place to go rather than one of the other colleges? Right. Okay, that's a really good question, and I think it really starts with more than just that one person coming to me. I think you need to, I mentioned your marketing campaign. Get the word out in the community. Look at what our graduates are doing. Look at these amazing things our graduates are doing. Another thing that I do in my area is I try to showcase my faculty and the things they're doing. For example, we have an undergraduate research program in my division, and at a board meeting, they don't want to hear me sit up there and spew. I'm going to bring in the faculty and the students and have them talk about the great things that are going on, and then they're going to go out and tell us, wow, look what's happening here. Our students went to Keno Bay and did research on seagrasses, which are food for sea turtles, and that's what they're doing. So I think showcasing all the wonderful things that are going on at the college and having a good relationship with the community, which I'm from my research I see, again, I don't live here, that would be the key, and to keep that up. I think it's really important, if I were to get this position, when I'm out in the community, keep in mind that I'm representing the community and find opportunities while I'm out there. I formed a partnership with this research center in Keno Bay, which is in Sonora, Mexico, on the Sea of Cortez, because I was down there for a short vacation with my significant other, And I was interested in these giant birds that looked like pterodactyls. And I saw the guy running along the beach. He saw I was birding. He stopped and helped me identify him. And I said, how do you know this? He says, I'm the director of the Keno Bay Research Center. And I said, hey, are you looking for partners? I gave him my business card. So, and then I've run into students in the community. Oh, I quit school. I didn't come back. I give them my card. I say, contact me. See what we can do to help you get back. I want you to get back to school. So I think it's something that you have to ingrain in yourself rather than just, you know, when you're at the college function and have to be the spokesperson, which is important too. But I think it's something you need to have ingrained in yourself. And I really believe in the community college mission, and I am so grateful that my career path led me this way. I was going to be a research scientist and clean up Superfund sites with microbes, and I'm glad I didn't go that way. Not that it's not cool and exciting. I enjoy reading about it. And then you had a question.
Yeah, my question is, like, do you aspire to bring those type of, like, opportunities and programs, or the, like, especially the scholarship program you was talking about at school? I believe that we really, I was just wondering if that, or is
to bring those kind of opportunities to students here?
Yeah, create that, or
yes, I would be honored to be able to bring those types of ideas forward to the college community here and talk about them and see what might best fit here for students here. Because what we have at my college might not be what's best for here. And there may be some things that are going on here already that really rock and maybe aren't getting the publicity they need or whatever. And that's not anyone's fault. But I would be happy if I were selected for this position to do what I can to put forth some ideas. And then, of course, that would be a group process talking about shared governance and making sure we make decisions together. And one thing I would be interested in doing would be meeting with students and see how what their take is and what they think needs some help here. And one thing I was interested in was that I think it was you two did a President Day swap. I thought that rocked. And I would love to do it with the vice president of student government if I was here, because I'm sure they would definitely do a better job than me, and I would probably fail miserably being a student government president or vice president. But yeah, so I would do what I could, but I'm not one that wants to force my ideas in, particularly if they're not.
I have a question that was submitted online.
Yes.
And it says, what role do you believe academic advisors and counselors have on college campuses, especially in regards to student retention and academic success?
I think they're absolutely essential. In fact, I talked about Complete College America and some of the initiatives there, some of the ways that advisors, and you said advising and counseling, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are to involve them in academics. Where I currently am, we have an advisor that's assigned to each of our departments. They attend department meetings and they're like our department liaison. It's a real good way to keep student affairs and academics in touch with each other, and having the advisors in there, they can make us aware of some of the issues and problems that students are bringing forward. Another good relationship that I have currently is with the TRIO program, and I have several instructors that are very interested in helping out with TRIO too. So, for example, they said, hey, we really need a physics with calculus course on this campus. I said, great, how many students do you have? They got the student signatures and stuff together, and for the first time that I'm aware of, we were actually able to offer a physics with calculus class on that campus. I wouldn't have known about it if the advisors and the counselors, and TRIO in particular, hadn't reached out to me. So I think it's important. Some other things that are really important too are, for example, an early alert system. I've seen this at colleges where an instructor, there's a form or a button they can push on the computer. It says, hey, student XYZ didn't do well on their first exam. I'm concerned about them. And then an advisor or counselor, again, I realize the structure may be different at different places, but let's say this advisor can check in with that student. Hey, what's going on? I saw you didn't do well on your first biology exam. You know, it might be a life issue, and then that would be something we could help them with. Maybe their car broke down and they can't afford to get it fixed. I've certainly had students in that position. Maybe they lost their job, and now they're focused on finding another job so that they can feed their family. So I think there's a lot of roles for advising and counseling to be able to help with student success and retention. Again, I feel it's the whole community of the college that comes together so that we can meet the best, or we can meet the needs of our students the best and get them to their goals and where they need. So you can't do it in a silo. Sure. I walk around a lot, getting my steps in.
Hi, my name is Electra, and kind of to piggyback on that question, how would you work with your faculty in order to motivate the students to withdraw?
Okay, so how would I work with, I just want to make sure I understand your question. How would I work with faculty to decrease the withdrawal rate? Okay, that's a really good question. I think in order to answer that question, I would need to gather information as to why students are dropping. So I would want to have a mechanism in place for why students are dropping the course. And once I know why students are dropping that particular course, I would then be able to be better able to address that issue. I think I would involve the faculty member or faculty members. I know I would involve them with it as well. Hey, look, I'm seeing that a lot of students are dropping this course for reason X, Y, Z. What ideas do you have to help us fix this? Because I don't have all the answers. Nobody does. And so I would address those particular issues. So again, it would depend on why students are dropping the course. Once we've figured out why students are dropping that particular course, then we can work together and see how we can address it. Is it life issues? Is it because maybe the pedagogy doesn't seem to quite fit? And if it doesn't, what ideas does the instructor have to fix that? Because people, I find it's students, instructors, administrators, it's best if you involve them in the solution if they're willing. Because the bottom line is we don't want students to drop the course. We don't want students to withdraw. And that will have to be fixed. So how are we going to get together and how are we going to fix that? So hopefully I've addressed your question. I'm currently facing a situation like that, which I won't discuss for obvious reasons, but and we're working through it so we can help. Yes, sir. Oh my goodness. I would say if it's a particular event, it would be developing with an amazing advisory board, the Heavy Equipment Operators Program, because it's still going, still serving that community 10 years later. But I'd say probably the most significant thing that I've done overall in my education is I've been able to have a positive impact on students, such as the student that I talked about who graduated this weekend. I have worked at mostly institutions that serve populations that have challenges getting to college and completing college. And that is where my passion is. So the fact that I have been able to have a small influence on these students and on these colleges to help them get to a career or further into grad school, whatever, I would say that is my most the accomplishment that I'm most proud of, and I'm most humbled by the fact that I can actually have that kind of effect. And I think it's really important as being involved in education that we never lose sight of the fact that we're here to be of service to others. I'm very grateful that I can be in that role. I hope I've answered your question. I'll try to make my answer super fast.
Hi. So my last question, and it's again, it's a little on the lighter side, is what is your opinion about participating in a dunk tank?
I'm not thrilled about it, and that's mostly for medical reasons. I tend to have allergy issues, and sometimes I can get pretty sick, get head underwater. But in terms of if that for a fundraising activity or something, if the water can come up to here, sure, why not? And if I don't have to wear a bathing suit, because I wouldn't want to scare everybody. Thank you. I'm very grateful for your time. Thank you so much.